Your heart is kind of in between the middle of the chest and a little bit to the left. So that's the kind of area here surrounding your heart. So if you've been to one of the yin sessions before, you have this pericardium. So the heart actually is like, it's not fixed. I know we know that somewhere, but it's like still quite a surprise. So when you breathe, the diaphragm like draws it down and then back up again. Obviously not this much, but it's kind of being protected and moving at the same time. And then we split the torso up into 3 sections as well. So give a little shake out to your feet. Make sure that you feel nice and kind of grounded. And that's that point where you push your feet down and you feel that your abs start to wake up a little bit here. So you're just going to bring your hands, palms facing up. You're going to pull them into the sides of your body, but see how you're not letting the chest rise up. So you pull the arms in and then you scoop the arms forward, taking care of the shoulders. Good. And then from here the arms come out to the side, the palms kind of flip out, and then you scoop the arms up again. And this is a really nice one. You're just going to make a little like flower shape around your chin, and then the arms just carry on all the way up to the top. I have to dip down so I can actually reach up. And then your arms just float down. Now you can have the palms up or down or somewhere in between. Good. And then you push the palms to the floor so you straighten out the arms at the end. Scoop back in and we do that first move again. So it's elbows in. This is great for shoulders all around the sides of the body, back as well. Elbows come up. Arms out to the side, just really soft. You want all the work to be in the middle of the body really. And then they come up. And you're going to make that lovely little cup for your chin. So almost like you're sitting your chin in your hands. The arms just carry on up. Good, and then you just slowly come down. And you can kind of bounce around a little, whatever your knees need, your legs need. Push the palms towards the floor. Good, turn the palms up one more time. And turning the palms just changes what's happening around the shoulders, upper back, arms left. That circle of the arms out. Good. And then scooping up the middle, and you just can go in your own time. Hands, that little flower around the chin. So it's a sunflower today because summer. We do have a sunflower that's getting pelted in the weather right now. And then we come down. And then you're going to push those arms down. Good. And then come back up and just lay the hands on the chest for a little second. Give your legs a shake. That's quite a lot for the upper body, the back and the shoulders. And this time we're going to be draping down. So that you're just going to allow the arms to kind of dangle forward. And this one's called waiting at the gate, or the temple gate or something. And it's like this section of your lower back is really important in yin yoga, in acupuncture. There's also just tons and tons of nerves. There's a really dense area of nerves in the body. And then you're just going to cross your arms and lift up towards your chest. So you're kind of gathering up, and then you come up, and the arms stay crossed as you lift them over the head, and then circling down, and allow yourself to dangle forward again. Arms lift up here before you stand up. Good, and the wrists kind of stay crossed. Yeah, and then you just circle out to the sides again and dangle down. Lift the arms so they're crossed. I don't know if you can see, just crossed at the front there. And then up, they stay crossed. And that circle, and you're going to dangle down here again. Now this time don't lift the arms up yet. You're going to drop the butt down. See what happens. So that little kind of squat position, and then you gather the arms up, push the floor away, and circle up again. And just circling down, bend your knees, folding forward. So you can be here. Maybe you want that little extra drape. See how your back feels. And then you drop the butt down, as you pick the arms up. And then we get that inside line of the leg. Down again. Dropping the butt, lifting up. Good. Anybody feel their thighs nice and warm after that one? Good. And then circle the arms back up this time. This is going to be tricky for me. So you're going to drop your, well, go for the right arm. Drop the right arm down. And then you're going to push the left foot down as you reach the left arm up. And then you're going to just kind of lean. This is really hard in this room. And you're going to see how far you can lean. The right leg wants to lift over. You're going to push through the upper left arm. So I'm actually cheating a little bit by holding on. So it's not like floating half moon where you've opened the hip joint at the front. This one's called Northern Star, and I thought it was appropriate for the solstice time. Good. To think about the north. Coming down. And we'll do the other side. So starting with both arms up. This time you're going to drop the left arm down, reach up through that right arm. And then just lean to the diagonal, and you'll just feel that point where the foot kind of wants to just float. I'll have to shimmy this way. Float up-ish off the floor. And it's this, like opposing diagonal line right through this heart centre. So this is roughly here, centre of gravity. If you're here, you've leaned too far. Good. Coming down, arm circles down and then up. Drop the right arm, lean over to the left. And you're just looking for those little points of balance. Nothing too much in the back, nothing too much in the front or the shoulder. Move around till you feel it's a little bit more equal. Good, and then down. Other way, lifting that arm up, good. And finding your balance. So kind of like floating half moon. This is great for your back muscles, for your glutes, for balance, everything that works for balance. Knees, ankles, feet. Well done. Arms can circle around a few times here. Feet can land on the floor. Good. So a kind of change. Little. Sometimes we do those types of warm-ups, but very much a moving section. And it never really feels like too harsh on the body, which sometimes means that you feel like you haven't really done anything, switch direction, but it's not true. Those types of Qigong movements and Tai Chi movements, like truly functional way of moving the body, everything just kind of knits together, and it should feel easy. If you're using things in the right kind of way, it's not always easy, or you have to work at it sometimes, but it shouldn't feel like a lot of work specifically around a joint in the body. So we're going to come down to sitting on the floor, and you want to feel comfortable. So we're going to sit. What time are we at now? Okay. We're going to sit for maybe 5 or 6 minutes, or you can lie. I've been saying as well, like sometimes when I'm doing classes at home, I like to quite lie like in this sideways position, but with my feet up as well. So you can try it, particularly if your hips are bothering you or your knees are bothering you. You might want to sit up cross legs. This is a shape sometimes that we think we have to make because it's what we see all the time. Or you might have just done it for so long that this is the shape that your body wants to make now. I'm sitting back against the end of my bed here, so my spine's not having to work that hard to stay upright. You might want to lie on your back. Some of you might want to lie on your front. That's doable also. And then you're just going to take a breath and let it go. And then just be aware of any sounds from around your room. So I feel quite lucky. I've got like the rain battering down on the skylight, which is just a nice relaxing sound, but it also means I don't have to water the garden later on, so it's helping me feel relaxed. You might hear the music. See how you feel. I'm just going to share the sound here. I don't think it'll be too loud, but let me know. tuning into the things that you can actually sense, which is the sound, maybe it's your breath. If you're a hay fever person or asthma, it's maybe not your breath. Maybe you feel where your body is resting against the floor or a chair. And then just tune in to that area around your heart for a little moment. How it moves. And then using whatever helps you to keep your attention focused, so the sounds, the feeling, the breath. Maybe your eyes are open and it's whatever you're looking at. And just every now and then, turning your attention back. And you just want to be patient with yourself as well. Absolutely no urgency in drawing that attention back. Just focus every now and then on the sounds, on what your senses are telling you. Those feelings of yourself resting, maybe the breath. Just using any sounds from around your room. And also knowing it doesn't have to be something I say either. Maybe you find your own way, that's fine, your own way that works. And when you're ready, maybe taking a deeper breath. You're starting to wiggle those fingers. I quite like a nudge in my head side to side. Just gently blinking the eyes open if they were closed. How was that? 6 minutes? Was it quick? Was it slow? Just be aware, it can be neither thing. Maybe it just felt like 6 minutes, whatever that feels like. So that's like a quarter of how long they would sit in like a Japanese kind of Buddhist meditation. So they would sit for 24 minutes at a time. When I did my yin yoga training, we did 6 minutes in the morning and we did 12 minutes in the afternoon and 12 minutes at night, right until the last day where we sat for 24 minutes for the 3 times a day. It was really weird as well because the time bit in your brain just goes when you do those meditations sometimes, so that's where you get that feeling of like either it's really long or it's really short. So it's just an observation as well. And then you can just be aware of how that changes over time. So I think we're going to stay sitting actually for the first one, even though I just shuffled around. So give your legs a little shake out. Now if your knees are feeling tender this morning, just take care of this one. So probably the first option is to keep the feet quite like closer together. We're going to fold in this left leg-ish. Folding in might be, see how that's just like sort of turning the foot in a little bit. And you can prop here underneath this turned out knee. You might want to bring the leg all the way in, that's totally fine. And then the other thing might be to prop this right leg. I find that really comfortable. So I don't know, something going on with the hamstring and the hips. So if your hips feel quite tight at the back, this prop underneath might be good. You can use like something bigger to prop if you have your bolster there. It can feel quite nice. to dangle the leg over like that. You get the idea. Or it's just a rolled up blanket. It's the other way that it might feel quite nice as well. Good. Is it just me left fidgeting here? It's the usual story. So your right leg's a little bit longer than your left leg. Roughly. Just see how you feel. Your leg can be all the way out to the side, whatever feels good for you. And then you're just going to take the arms up and then gently bring them towards the back of the head. How far forward did you guys have to lean? Just feeling that. So the summertime, this heart sequence is about kind of like getting the chest to feel a little bit more spacious at the front. Good. And then the arms just carry on circling down again. And then up. You can keep your hands on the back of the head. That's totally fine. I like to just think about the head like lifting up a little bit and maybe pressing into the back of the hands. You can have the elbows forward or out. And then release again. Up. And then onto the back of the head. And decide how your shoulders are feeling. Do they feel good? You might want to bring the arms down if they're not feeling so good, or keep them up. You're just going to lean over to the right hand side, reach that right arm down, left arm up. Now feel absolutely free to wait here for a little bit. So you might get that kind of pull across the front of the arm or the side of the body. And you might just want to bring the arms back onto the head. Remember, this bit's optional. You can stay still. Lifting back up. You're just going to go over to the right hand side again. So that little lean, not too far into the sensation. And then over to the side. One arm, maybe two arms. Anyone's arms feel tired. Tired already. Hand on the back of the head. Up. And you're just transferring the work here if you're doing the arms over to the side. You might be quite happy to stay still. Unfolding one arm and then the other. Maybe back on, see how you feel. And then left. I always feel like, even I've done it myself as well, when you're doing like a yin yoga class or a stretchy one, and you're told to find the edge of the posture, but you don't see anybody at the outside edge. Like, so for me that would be like this, probably. You see, find your edge, and then everyone's always flopped over into the whole version. Hand on the head and left, and just release the arms, and you can bring them back down and maybe just sit for a little moment. And if you need to move this leg, you might want to walk it in and out. See how you feel. You might just want to stay still, that's fine. Or we did these kind of little toe things. Some of you on Thursday, if you did that, you might be haunted. The calf may never forgive you. So we did this sequence on Thursday where we did a lot of this, like pushing with the foot, and it was quite a lot of work. Good, and then walking that foot back in, and you're going to switch sides. So maybe we would invite you to bring your legs all the way forward first, but remember, it's always optional. A little shake out. And then you're just going to bend the right leg a little bit more than the left, or a lot more. Remember that you might want different types of props on this side. And then depending on your own hips, you might have this left foot quite far forward or a little more out to the side. And just take the time now to prop yourself up. And again, I'm still leaning very much against the back of the bed here. So we're looking for a bit of a stretch down the inside of the leg, but not too much. So you'll get a little bit more if you're going to take that little movement side to side. It's totally up to you. And then the arms can come up again. And gently just onto the back of the head. And then out. And up, just in your own time. And onto the back of the head. And if you do bring your arms onto the back of the head, just fully rest the head into the hands, and then you'll feel this kind of release of your neck muscles, which I quite like, but if you don't like it, it's good. Out to the side and around. and then onto the head. And then you might just want to take a lean over to the left, see how it feels on this side. Maybe the left arm drapes down, maybe that right arm lifts up. So as well as the lower body, you have this optional movement of a twist in the chest as well. Hand, what one are we going for? Left hand maybe on the back of the head, doesn't really matter. Right arm, and then up. And remember, if you are feeling your shoulders tight, just bring in the elbow, whichever arm it is, to face a little more in the same direction as you rather than out to the side. You can let the arms go 1, 2. And then back in, 1 and 2. And I like to just lift the chest a little bit here, and then over again. And then we're never quite settling into one fixed posture if you're moving. Good. And then hands come in 1 and then 2. And then you can just let your arms circle round if they're moving. And then remember, if you want to move this leg, then you can. So if you are feeling any tension around the knees, and that's not just on the kneecap, it can be around the outside as well, then sometimes a bend does help, but then also moving the leg, either internal or external, and just find the comfortable position for you. You might want to point and flex the feet, or those little circles. See how you feel. Good, and then we're going to come to a kind of kneeling position. If you are not wanting to kneel for any reason, so you can kneel and have the knees up quite high, that's fine. We will come back to a posture similar to this a little bit later on, because if you are feeling your knees and you bring your knees out wide, then it's going to, try it, see how you feel. The other area might be hips, so we're going to take like a wide-legged child's pose. This also works though with the knees in quite narrow, regardless of whether the hips are high up. See how you feel. Sometimes you might want a little padding, so I was just saying earlier in the week as well that like I'm on a massive cushion that feels a little bit like a duvet, so I always have this kind of padding underneath the knees, so a duvet would work, or a blanket here. Sometimes it's the fronts of the feet, so like this is a big ask for the ankle joint here, so you can always roll up something and put it underneath the feet as well. And this is going to get into the same kind of inner line on the inside of your leg, which is kidney, which is the energy bit, the giving you more energy bit. And then I'm going to have my bolster. You might want, like, you can use your bed or your sofa, that's fine. I'm going to have my bolster here and take a child's pose. So depending on what your shoulders want, you can have the bolster like quite close to the tops of the arms. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, then you can roll the bolster more towards the hands. Wide arms can work, so 2 bolsters might be nice. And just immediately obvious points to watch here, middle of your back, so that's where the shape of the spine changes. Head and neck, shoulders. If it feels good for you, you might want to bring the arms onto the back of the head again. And then if you quite like moving around, the way that you can make this more mobile is walking the arms out, walking the arms in and up, forward. You might want to take a little rock side to side. And just being aware that if you are a particularly flexible person, or you are feeling particularly stressed or unable to relax at the moment, hanging around right towards the end of the shape that your body can make is probably going to make that a little bit worse, or there's a chance that it might make it worse. So feel open to kind of moving around a little bit. And we're looking for a little bit of balance here, not just in the body but in most of the things that we do. And that summer season is all about finding that kind of joyful element, playful element, which is probably going to be particularly challenging. But there's always little things that are good, that you find are comfortable or comforting. Maybe you've had a chance to go back to a hobby that you haven't had a chance to do in a while. Sometimes it's maybe even just realising something that you might want to change a little bit later when you've got time or when you come up with a plan. And the heart often symbolises not only joy but compassion and a connection with others also. And sometimes that's too little, sometimes it could be too much as well. I used to say that when you meet somebody from outside of your house at the moment, you're like, hello. And then you're just going to walk yourself back up towards your hands and your knees, so you can still use your props, your bolster, or the side of your bed. I hate doing this because it's always turning away from you, but it works if you've got a seat of a chair as well. And just give your legs a quick kind of stretch out behind you, 1 and then 2, and ease out any tension that you might feel. Just be aware as well of what maybe you would want to change. So we're going to take a twist for the upper body. And you have an option. So you can come back to the kind of child's pose legs, which are, you know, that little bit wider, knees apart. And we're going to twist the right arm underneath the body. Things that can help here. Having something for the head to rest on, or the shoulder, if the shoulder's kind of hovering quite high off the floor. Then you might also want to just bring your knees in narrower and still do the same kind of twist. So if the knees are narrower, then you might want to lift up and then down, and that's doing both the, so you feel the stretch across the back of the chest and arm, and then you'll feel the stretch across the front of the chest and the arm. So heart line, intestine line, small intestine. So the organs, if you've not done the yin yoga before, are like coupled together. Or if you're here in the child's pose, you might just want to thread your arm under and then bring it over to the side a little bit here. See how it feels. And then again, don't think that you have to hold the wide-kneed version because it's the more advanced one. For those who are pretty flexible, it's probably not. I know about me, like if I just come into that child's pose, I feel a little bit of a pull in the legs, but it's not really, you know, that taxing. Whereas if I'm up here on the high knees, that's to work all these abdominal muscles to keep the hips steady, which is actually a little bit harder. So everybody is different, unique options. And this is like threading the needle or twisted child's pose. It's taking care of the areas around your ribs as well. And when you've done enough of that one, you can climb back up. I was going to say crawl back up, but hopefully you're not feeling like you have to crawl back up. And then again, you might just want a little stretch of the legs or a little shake of the arms. See how you feel. I was just kind of thinking as well, when you kind of go back, when we finally get to go back to classes and stuff, nobody's going to want to do any of the stuff like, you know, where the wrists are sore or where you're kind of really overexerting yourself. Maybe you do. I probably won't. So you might want to bring your knees wide again, and then the same thing you just did with the left, the right arm, you're going to do with the left side as well. Note that it's particularly in the back that both sides of the body can be a little bit different, and this is actually using quite a lot of your muscles in your spine as well. I'm going to reach up, and then just taking it easy as well. Feeling free to move those knees in and out. One way that's quite nice, if you need an option for your knees, is if you have a blanket or a towel long ways and you tuck it behind the knees, and it just gives you this little bit more of a space in the knee joint. So if you are feeling your knees, it can be pressure, it can be like rubbing from the inside, overuse maybe. And then if it's the hips, then you're just going to have to work with the angle that the knees are in relation to the hips, so in or out. And they might not both be the same, that's fine. Now if you want to just hang out here at the bottom without moving, that's totally fine. I'm just going to keep moving up and down. And just nice free breaths if you can. And then a couple more times if the arm and the chest are moving. If you're just kind of sitting still in the posture, then you might want to climb yourself back up now and give those legs a little shake out. 1 and then 2. I like to just, you can't see because this is annoying, put my, that worked, toes on the floor and legs stretch back. But some of you might prefer just the leg floating up as well, that's fine. Good, and then you're going to come to lying on the front of the body. So we will come back to this one as well, but you might want a wall or your bed, or just a bolster will be fine when we come back to this. So we're just going to lie onto the front of the body. Options, all about options. So we've done this quite a few times in quite a few different ways over the last few months. Just tuck this wire in, it always works its way loose. So you might want a prop, so it could be like cushion, pillow off your bed, rolled up towel or blanket, maybe a bolster. If you've got a new bolster as well, it can be actually a few uses before you kind of pummel it down to a more reasonable shape. So you might want to have the bolster like under the hips. We've done this one. See how that feels? That feels quite comfortable for me, for me today. You might want to have it like on the lowest ribs. I find that's quite a nice position. Also, it's not really pushing on like my stomach. And then, you know, there's lots of different places, maybe underneath the oxters or your armpits. So that's going to give you quite a big back bend. Or even just this. I know this seems a little bit weird, but arms dangling over the top. And that just will pull all the skin, the muscles, the ribs like upwards. And it can sometimes give you a nice sense of, I don't know, an easier kind of breath. So what do you want? Do you want the squashy feeling of a hug? Or do you want the stretchy feeling of a release? And I suppose, like, I was looking for new bedclothes for Remy, my little boy, and they have these now, these like weighted blankets. It's literally my worst nightmare to be trapped under a duvet. But obviously it must be like quite a comforting thing to have that sort of heavy feeling. And then whichever way your head wants to face, remember you can always reach an arm out. You might have one down, one up. And you might want to move around just by switching the arms. You might be quite happy lying still. You can always kick up a leg, other leg, move the hips side to side. And if you are switching the arms, you just switch. Kind of feels a little bit like a front crawl. Everybody who is swimmers is like really missing being in the pool as well. So if you are a swimmer, just reaching one arm forward, one arm back can be quite nice. Like a similar muscle pattern to front crawl. And then forward. And we all tend to find at least some like things that we do on a daily basis like comforting. And that makes us feel comfortable, it makes us feel relaxed. And then just try bringing your arms in underneath your forehead. So you might need to move this bolster. You can be kneeling, that's fine, or you can be lying, that's fine. And you're going to take your right arm and cross it underneath your forehead and bring your left arm forward. And it doesn't have to be straight here, maybe the elbow is bent and the hands are just slightly like one on top of the other. And you might just want to have your hand, like the hand that's reaching can be resting and the hand that's resting can be on the floor. And a way to make this one a little bit more mobile is to twist the head gently side to side or lift the opposite leg from the arm that's reaching. I know it seems strange, those kind of mobile movements or keeping it mobile, but if you do have joint problems, so anybody who's got sore knee, sore ankle, sore shoulder, a sore back, then keeping it moving is a really good way not to make that worse, basically. And then you can switch arms, so you're reaching one further forward. And again, you might want to lift and lower the opposite leg, or you might want to circles. And this is like a back bend, basically. And then you're just going to bring your hands back in and use your hands to help push you up here. And you can make fists, you can rest on your cushion, you might just want to take a little arch of the back up towards the ceiling in a cat stretch. Just gently. And then forward again. And then up. And I also like a little swish side to side. I like that feeling of the stretch in the back. And then forward again. And then up. Good. And then we're going to take a bridge position now. So you're going to be facing up towards the ceiling. Now you can have the bolster maybe underneath the back of the ribs. Tell you what works also really, really well is just a rolled up blanket. You just roll it up, or a towel. I had a towel in the first few weeks. So just like a little sausage basically. And you can see yourself how like this is just like much smaller diameter. You can have it underneath your ribs is an option, or the lower back is an option, or actually even underneath the knees is a nice option as well. So let's see, I probably will have to downgrade, I say downgrade, to the blanket. I'm going to bring the bolster underneath the hips and then just roll back here. So if your hips are quite lifted, this feels okay actually this morning. So I don't know if you can see there, but my heels are just catching the end of the cushion. A lucky accident. So if my heels were flat on the floor here, I would have to move. It's not comfortable enough. But with the heels slightly lifted, that feels good. Feels quite nice. It's just pulling a little bit less on that back line of the body. And you don't want your head to be like lifted here either, because it's going to put a lot of strain on the back of the neck. Now move around till you feel comfortable enough. And there's a stretch here for this lower abdominals across the hips as well. And you can play around with bringing the arms over the head. And sometimes lifting the arms overhead is never going to be comfortable. That is just the shape of the shoulders here for me that's really comfortable. If I try clasping my hands behind my back, that's the way that my shoulders do not like to move. So everyone's going to have their own preferences. And then your arms can come to the side, palms up or down. Fingertips on the forehead is quite nice. If you have your bolster, you might want to hold on and lift a leg up. And then do the other side. It's up to you. Maybe you're just quite happy chilling out over the bolster. And remember, it can be behind the ribs as well, which I get like a bigger stretch across the abs, but it's going to be different for you. And I haven't found this posture comfortable for the last 3 months, so this is a surprise. And sometimes it is a little bit of a surprise. And I think a lot of what we do now is like looking at for a final shape in a yoga posture, and then viewing anything that's not that as a deficit, that's something that needs to be changed. But it's not necessarily true. And then you can just experiment with moving the arms around, or the legs around. Maybe you want to lift the legs. Sometimes knees to chest can be quite nice. It's just taking all that stretch out of the hip flexor area, a little bit of compression out of the back as well. And then if you are lifting the knees, you might notice that the weight kind of shifts onto the back of the shoulders a little bit more. Maybe both legs lift and you come up to that legs up the wall kind of a shape. And then we've got to get ourselves out of this shape. So I'm going to attempt to push my feet down and just roll the prop down towards the back of the knees. Now if you had the prop underneath the upper body, just roll to the side, sit yourself up and then remove it. So we're going to take reclining butterfly pose now. So we're going to again stretch into that inner thigh. If you're feeling your knees, then just keep the bolster, if you have one, or your cushions underneath the knee, so you're feeling that it's catching behind the thigh and behind the calf as well, and you're not just cranking the knees like all the way outwards. Just let go of that if you're feeling your knees this morning. If you're feeling your hips, it can feel quite nice to turn the knees inwards, like this way, instead of outwards. You might just want to have the knees facing forward. The other option for this, if everything feels fine, is to bring something behind you, or if you have a wall or the seat of your bed, Slide in your butt so you can kind of recline back a little bit, and then bringing the knees out a little bit wider from there. Or if you're lucky enough to have a bolster or like literally 2 pillows, does the same job. You can kind of rest up there and just have a little rest back, and then the knees are like, can fall out to the side here. Just be aware of any crunching, popping, discomfort in the hips. Arms can be lifted if you're liking the stretch this morning, or down. And if you want a little bit of a chest stretch but you don't want to bring the arms all the way up, just turn the palms like up or down, and you'll feel for yourself how that changes the muscles in the chest. And remember, you can always move if you've not chosen the right option. Sometimes you think it's going to be really good, and then you get there and you're like, no, it's not. So you're either feeling maybe a little more around the inside of the thigh, or if the knees are towards each other. If you're a person whose legs hate that outward turn, so stuff like Warrior 2, or like pliés where you turn the feet out, then turn them in. It's totally fine. Or you might want to cross one leg on top of the other, that's fine as well. Just like a little bit of a stretch. And then you can think of ways that you might want to move if you don't want to lie still. Reaching a leg out. Reaching an arm up. Same thing, little roll over the soles of the feet can be quite nice. And then sometimes in these reclining postures, you might want to come back to what you can hear, how the body feels, where it's resting. Maybe it's your upper back or the back of the head, where the feet are. What you can hear. And if you are crossing your legs, you might want to try crossing the other one. And remember, if it doesn't feel as good, then just go back to the first side. And then you're going to unwind yourself from here. So if your knees are falling out to the side, just walk your feet back onto the floor so they look upwards. And then you might want to move the kit. You might want to roll onto your side and get things out of the way. If you don't have to come up, you don't have to. So the next one we're going to do, like we did the threading of the needle with the upper body, and this is the lower body equivalent to that really. You're going to lie back again. You probably don't want to be like upwards for this one, but you might want a little something behind the head. Take the right leg, cross it over the left. Now I always step my left foot in towards the middle line of my body rather than outside of the hip. Just feels a bit more comfortable for my hip, so it's an option. And you might want to take a swish side to side. Now if this does not feel good, you can try sliding the foot away so it's more like crossed legs. Or you just keep that right foot on the floor and you can knock the knee out and then in. And again, you're working the kind of inner edge of the thigh across the lower abdominals. Now some of you might want to lift that left leg off the floor and down, and you might want to mix it up here with a little swish side to side. If you feel that's undoing something good, like in your back or your hips, choose another option. Leg can go away, leg can lift up here, it's totally fine. Maybe you want to hold on. And again, if you're pretty sensitive around your hips or your back, don't do this one. I'm just going to demonstrate, but I'm not actually going to do it myself. You might want to gently push away on the knee, but the knee presses back up. It can sometimes be a way of realigning anything that's out of place in the back. So you just kind of pulse between pressing and releasing. But if you know, or you've tried it before and it makes it worse, then don't do it. Or you might be quite happy just with a swish side to side. And then you're going to switch legs. And you're going to cross that left one over the right. And again, move that right foot around. It makes such a difference to how the posture feels, rather than just thinking you have to kind of stick with where it is now. And again, it might be just kicking the leg away and back up again. And a lot of the work that you can do to kind of improve your well-being is often tackling like the tough jobs, the stuff that you don't really want to think about that much. And sometimes it's like realising like a simple thing like, actually my body doesn't like making that shape. Maybe you want to lift the leg up and down. See how you feel. And again, maybe the foot's just on the floor, I'll move that leg so you can kind of see. Maybe it's just a little swish of that knee. And then your feet come back down and feel them on the floor. And you're going to lift the knees towards the chest. And you're just going to roll over to the right hand side. So you might want to play around. We're going to eventually look for this diagonal shape, but start with the legs. So the right leg drops down, maybe the left leg, and then you reach that left arm out. So you feel this big stretch, and then it's just kind of like that Northern Star balancing pose that we did at the very beginning. So that midpoint is somewhere around the heart area, and you're also stretching that front line of the arm into the chest and that back line of the arm. And then you're going to just switch, so you're going to lift the left one first, and then when you feel that that right leg wants to lift, so kind of like that Northern Star, lift it, and then roll over to the left side. I always have to shuffle here. Over to the left side, letting that right knee come down, doesn't have to touch the floor or the other knee. And then you're going to reach through the right arm. So on the left side I have to reach my arm up, and on the right side I have to reach my arm out to get a really similar sensation. So it doesn't have to be the same both sides. Coming in, rolling, over to the right, one knee, two knees, and unravelling that left arm. I'm just going to get closer to you guys with each roll, I think. I've rolled totally off the cushion now. And then you're going to roll again. Left side over. And reach to that right arm. And remember, you can change the palm, elbow, maybe the arm reaches up or over. It's going to be different depending on your shoulders, depending on what's going on in your hips and your back. Swishing to the right side again. And then reaching to that left arm. Now if you just want to wait here, that's fine. I literally am getting a little bit closer every time I roll over to the side. Then you can wait, that's totally fine, and enjoy the stretch here. Or you just keep swishing from side to side, twisting those knees and reaching through that opposite arm. So the knees are facing one way and the arm reaches to the opposite side. if you're hanging about in the stretch, you might want to switch sides now. Maybe you don't have to. Or you just keep swishing from side to side, finding that stretch. Feeling how it just subtly changes with each time you twist. And you can use a deep breath to kind of make that stretch a little bit more intense feeling maybe. So we're pulling all these muscles around the ribs, so when you breathe, the breath is pressing out into an already tensed muscle, already stretched muscle. A couple more times, swishing side to side. If you're just enjoying the stretch, just stay, that's fine. And when you're ready, just going to land onto your back, feet come down onto the floor. How far have you moved off your mat? Little square. I don't know where I am now. You're going to roll onto the front of the body. Take your time, you can use your hands to press you up. And this is where you might want your bed or chair or wall, just even resting the legs up on your cushions or your bolster like this. That's enough maybe. So no, that's an option. If it's too low down, you can make two fists as well rather than back to the hands. So if you're using your chair or your wall or your bed or your sofa, front of a sofa will work. I don't know, we're going to shuffle in and bring your shins. This is a strong stretch, by the way, so you probably don't want to stay there for too long. Bring your shins up towards the wall. Now, your knees don't have to touch the wall. It's quite a strong stretch for the thighs. My feet are much closer together than my knees, so I'm making this little diamond shape or triangle shape. If you get here and you think, no, I cannot, no, then you're just going to shuffle forwards and bring the knees a little bit further away from the wall. This is going to immediately take a little bit of tension off the thighs. Other things that might help, some cushion or blanket underneath the hips. See how you feel. You might want to roll a bolster here underneath the arms. And joking aside, it really does depend on what's going on at the front of your chest as to how comfortable this feels. So that might be a reason that you want to roll the bolster a little further out. If it's too high, come down onto two fists or a cushion. And it's a slightly different feel from all the kind of, oh, maybe I don't know actually. All I get here is like quite a lot of burning in the back of the legs. Some of you will probably feel this like quite a big stretch over the front of the thighs and abdominals as well. It just really depends. And ways that you could make this more mobile, kind of walking the feet out a little, or bringing the arms in and back out. Option to take cat-cow stretch on your hands and knees as well. You might want to gently turn your head from side to side. So I just kind of rest on this, I don't know, I've got a bony bit quite near the temple on the side of the head. Rather than if I think cheek, rolling on my cheek, it just overextends my neck a little bit. And this is kind of like bow pose. Again, another one that I don't teach that often, where you hold on to the feet and lift, but without the strong stretch for the knees or the lower back compression. And also in bow pose, This can be a lot for your shoulders, so you need a lot of stretch in the chest and quite a bit of mobility in the shoulders. And when you're ready, if you're not already, just going to press yourself back onto your hands and knees. And again, have a little movement for your back. So it might be cat-cow, or that swish from side to side. Sometimes like a little circle feels quite nice in the back. Like cat-cow, but instead of going front to back, you kind of go from side to side. And then we're just going to sit for a little moment. Not going to make you sit for another 6 minutes, that's fine. And then you might just want to kind of swish the arms from side to side. You do not have to sit cross legs, remember. You can have one leg out or both legs out in front. Again, I'm leaning very much against the back of the bed here. And you might just want to take a little lean forward. I'm just going to stretch one arm forward and up. And then I'm going to do the other side, just reach it forward and up. You might want to do 2 arms, see how you feel. And again, it's quite similar to those arm movements in the warm-up. And any time where you've reached the arm in front of you or over your head this morning, very similar movement patterns to that. Maybe you want to go back to side. Maybe you want to kind of reach and twist. And you could kind of stick around in the stretch for what feels like a good time for you. So, not so much choice that it's overwhelming. Good, and you're just going to wrap the arms around the front of the body and then gently open, and then again around the front of the body, gently open, and maybe you only get part of the way, that's totally fine. And just a really simple way to stretch across the back. I like to just turn my chin slightly down when my arms are in front, and then it doesn't lift, but it just slightly lifts or comes back when the arms come out. Good, taking a little roll, and we're going to find a comfortable position now for our relaxation. We're quite near the end. I'm still going to do at least 10 minutes though, so that'll take us to about 20 past. It's up to you, hopefully you can stick around, but just put a little chat in if you do need to go. Yeah, so you can be seated, you can lie on your back, on your side. It's really important that you feel comfortable here. So you might like put socks on or jumper on, because it can be like your feet could get really cold if you feel them now. It's freezing. Or remember, you can always lie on your side. And then just tuning into those sounds from around your room. Maybe that sense of your breath, if that feels comfortable for you. How your body's resting. All those points of contact that your body makes with the floor. at any time your mind wanders off to something else. Bring it back. Breath, sound, how your body feels. Maybe the eyes are open. And then once you've found the cues that work for you, all those little anchor points, your breath, the sound, how your body feels, and we can use this visualization of a sunflower. So I just want you to imagine that area of your chest, right in the middle, close to where your heart is. And then just imagine a tiny sunflower in the middle of the chest. And then just gently, you're going to smile. And we turn that smile inwards towards ourselves. That smile represents compassion. All those well wishes and good feelings that you conjure up in yourself and give towards others when you smile. It's a really simple movement. Just like the breath, that smile is sometimes involuntary, or sometimes it's a conscious decision that we make. It just depends. And then every time you take a breath in, just picture that sunflower growing in size, still in the middle of the chest. And I want you to picture all the details. The part in the middle where the seeds come. Each petal, all the petals on the sunflower. What colour they are. And it might not just be one colour. And the depth of those colours, how it changes. Still smiling. And even if it's not a smile on your face, just that sense of a smile. And then gently with each exhalation, that sunflower just gradually gets a little smaller. A little smaller. Until it's no longer there. See if you can invite a feeling of space, expanse in the chest. And as that sunflower disappeared, we brought in with it those feelings that came along with the smile. Self-compassion, joy, a connection, just start to breathe a little easier again, or tune into those sounds, those sensations in the body. And then slowly in your own time, maybe a little wiggle through your fingers and your toes, through those arms and the legs. You might want to take a little nudge of your head side to side. And if you're lying on your back, you might want to walk your feet in or your knees in. If you're already seated, sometimes a little sway from side to side can be nice. And if you're lying on your back, you might want to hug your knees all the way in. It's up to you. Try a little rock side to side. And then when you feel ready, just roll onto one side. Come up to sitting. Doesn't have to be cross legs, remember, it can be whatever you feel comfortable with. Good, and we'll finish off with a breath. Arms can reach up. You might have a little look up, that familiar stretch across the front of the body, and the hands can come to your own heart, to where you had that sunflower, or to the floor. And namaste. Thank you all so much for joining in this morning.